What's going on, everyone? Tanner Poppet here of Madrost and Poppet's Corner. Just reminding you that our new record, Charring the Rotting Earth, is now available at NoLifeTomatoRecords.com. That's right. Just go in the search bar, type in NoLifeTomatoRecords.com, and support. Again, NoLifeTomatoRecords.com. Now, let's check out the episode you came to see.
Hi, this is Terry Glaze, and you're listening to Drag the Waters
with Joshua.
All right, guys, let's welcome back to the show Jeremy Spencer, formerly Five Finger Death Punch, now PsychoSexual, and we're going to drag the waters with him on Drag the Waters, the Pantera Podcast. New single, Devil from Hell, March 25th. It's awesome, man. It's definitely rocking, man. I was enjoying it today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a little different than the previous material that we've been working on. It's a little heavier. There's, you know, we do all kinds of stuff. It's not just metal or whatever. It's kind of eclectic, but this one's definitely a stomper.
Yeah,
pretty happy with it. The video turned out really cool too.
I think the Five Finger fans are probably gonna maybe attach to this one a little bit more. Maybe some of the other stuff might have threw him for a loop, but I think this is gonna kind of pull him in and be like, all right, there's Jeremy Spencer. There's the Jeremy Spencer we know.
Well, it's funny because when you make records, they're like snapshots in time.
Yeah.
We made the first thing really pretty fast, and I just threw it out independently, and we had started the next record right away, and Devil from Hell happened, and I'm like, fuck, man, I really like this. I wish this would have been the first thing that we dropped.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Nobody even really knows much about the other music, which I do like, but I think this is more appropriate of where we kind of want to debut. This is what I wanted to be the first thing. So it's kind of like a reboot. We're starting over, I'll release the other music down the road again, but this second record will technically be our first.
Yeah. I think when I was listening to it, I was like, man, if this had been the first thing you put out, I think the initial kind of like shock to the band would have been a little bit less. I think a lot of people kind of saw the makeup and the gothy tunes and stuff and just didn't maybe get it right away. But I think if you had maybe thrown this one out first and then gave them the other stuff second, I think they definitely would have gotten it.
Yeah, and that's okay. Not everyone's gonna dig what you do. That's just, it's how it is in Death Punch too. We would release stuff and you get hated on. You can't please everyone, but we always made records for ourselves, and then you hope people like it. You can't control it, and we were fortunate enough to have a large fan base that did appreciate what we did, and I think this will find the audience for this as well. It's not for everyone, but I'm doing what I love to do, and I'm a big fan of theatrics. Mm-hmm. I do like goth music. I do love metal. I'm going to put it all in the blender. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that people want to join us on the journey. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and when we finally get to play freaking shows, hopefully people can come out and have a good time and see what we're all about.
Now, last time I spoke, it was before the live stream. So how did that go for you? How did you feel about how all that went?
It was okay. It's weird. I'd never done anything like that because there was no reason to do it. So when we did the live stream, you would finish the song, and then there's maybe 8 to 10 people in the venue that work there, and you hear like this, but you have to act like you're playing some big show because it's on the internet. So it was kind of weird. I don't prefer that, but it was an experience. I'd never done anything like that before. So we'll probably do it again just because you can't get out to tour yet. But as soon as we can really tour, then we'll go do that.
Yeah, definitely bring you back to those early days of being in a band and playing a venue. And there are 8 to 10 people in the venue. And you're like, can we not do this again?
Yeah, the song you finish your song and then you hear the pool balls cracking in the background. Right. And you're like, cool, we're going to make it. All right.
I was joking one time. I played a show in Athens or Augusta, Georgia, somewhere down there in Georgia. And the only people in the venue at the time, it was one of those where it had like the rock room and then like the pool hall room. Mm-hmm. Everyone went to the pool hall room. The bartender went to the pool hall room and the sound guy went to the pool hall room. So we were literally just playing to nobody. It was, and it was like the first night of this tour, and we're like, all right, well, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, cool. There's only 60 more days. Yeah.
Too good, man. Well, obviously you're on a Drag the Waters here, the Pantera podcast. So let's just kind of go back to, I know you got to actually play with Pantera at one point. So I mean, that's an insane feat in its own. But I mean, when was the first time that you heard of Pantera, and how did you hear of them?
I worked at a record store whenever those were still around, and my boss was a fan of Pantera, the previous independent records that they released. And he was like, dude, their major label debut's coming out. And we got it in early at the store because you get it a few days early and then you check it in and then put it out on the shelf on the release day. So he turned me on to the band. I was like, holy shit, it was the new shit. It was everything. Like everyone had been all about the Metallica, Slayers, the Megadeths, all that stuff. And then when Pantera came out, it was just this different groove that we hadn't heard. And the production was different. And the guitar playing and riffs and grooves were like, holy shit. So I was floored, I was totally into it. Then we got a chance to
actually, before you dive into the opening part, your boss there at the record store, how do you think he got a hold of them? I mean, did they make it up to that area, to the Owensboro, Evansville area, or was it just his ear to the grinds, ear to the streets or something?
Not sure. I mean, we could always order imports and stuff. We had a big catalog where you could always get stuff that was hard to find. Yeah. But he was plugged in on what was going on. He was a big metalhead, so he'd heard of them somehow and was a fan of them and had power metal and that stuff in the store. So he was always jamming it.
All right. Yeah. So on to your opening for him.
Yeah. When we finally got to do that, like we had to first go up and audition for this venue, just to play shows at this venue. What had nothing to do with Pantera. I don't even know what it was about.
Where was the venue?
It was called, I think it was the Ritz in Indianapolis.
Okay.
And we went up there and we played with a bunch of bands, and then we ended up getting a call going, hey, would you want to open for this band Pantera that's coming through? And we're like, fucking yes, dude, yes. So we went up there. I think it was the last night of their Cowboys from Hell tour. So they were probably ready to get the fuck home because they'd been on the road a long time, but it ruled. It totally slayed. And Phil was joking in between songs like, we are Manowar, the kings of metal. He kept saying that. He kept calling Pantera Manowar. And then when they finally finished the set, like they're doing this big vamp, thank you, good night, we are Manowar. And then the soundman hit delay, so it goes Manowar for like 5 minutes, and they let it fucking blare out into the venue. I was laughing, but I remember during sound check that day, we were dialing in our instruments and we were playing this really fast song. I don't know, but super fast double bass. I could barely keep up. It was really fast. And as soon as we finished, there was this dude on the side of the stage going, faster, play it faster. We look over and it was Dimebag.
Nice.
So we're like, oh, fuck, it's Dimebag. So we talked to him for a while and he was cool. We gave him actually our band shirt.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, cool, man. Right on. I'll wear it. And a few months later, we were reading Metal Maniacs magazine and we opened it up and they were in there and he had our band shirt on in the magazine. So that's such cool shit. We're kids, I was 17 years old or 18. So,
someone just recently within the last 6 months posted a Pantera show from Indy from like 1990. So they might've actually posted that show you opened.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, cool. I remember just recently watching it. A couple, it's a big old handheld VHS recorder, taping of it. But yeah, I think it might be the same show you're talking about.
Is that on YouTube? Because I might search.
Yeah, I might have to look. If I find it later, I'll text it to you. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Cool, that's awesome.
That would be awesome if you can find yourself in the crowd or something, or right on the stage or something. Those are always great. Even back then, just seeing them and getting into them as the band kind of came out, man, were you sold that they were going to become what they became?
Yeah, I was. I thought they were the next thing in metal. To me, it was an undeniable sound and feeling. It was so primal, and it kicked your ass in so many ways, and it's what metal needed. I mean, we'd heard so many great things from Metallica, but when that groove of Pantera came out, it was so different compared to what was happening, and you were like, "Holy shit!" And they released all these home videos,
Yeah,
showing their personalities, that they were just fucking fun goofballs, you know? And and that's what everyone latched onto. They were people, you know, they weren't larger than life, even though we still thought they were larger than life, but they would have a beer with you, or they would stand and talk to you about a metal band. They were just cool. They wanted to hang out, and they were fans too, you know? They were awesome people.
well, that's what I always said about the band is you can go and watch those home videos, and you not only knew the band, you knew the guitar tech and the drum tech and this, Big Val. Everybody knew Big Val. When I met them when I was 14, 15 years old, first person I saw was Big Val. And we're like, hey, it's Big Val. You knew the security guards and the tour managers and everything else. They made everyone a part of Pantera.
Yeah, it was their traveling family. I mean, they were all stars in their own way. It was so cool. Nobody had done home videos like that. I mean, we'd seen home videos, but they were just they just went for full retard, and it was so great to watch it. I watched them. I think I watched all 3 of the videos within the past 2 or 3 months, and it was just so much fun to relive that stuff, man. I miss that shit. Actually, PsychoSexual, we're doing a home video too, and it's almost completed, and it's got a lot of fun stuff in it too.
Yeah, you got to keep it. Just gives everybody another side of the band, and I say it 1,000 times on this show was, Dimebag was made for social media. Like if Dimebag had YouTube and a Twitch and an Instagram Live, and how amazing would that have been?
Every day you would have got something that was totally crazy. Yeah, it would have ruled. He would have been the king. Yeah,
would have been the king. So as we're going, you opened for him on the Cowboys from Hell tour. Where were you at when Vulgar came out? Were you already in California yet, or were you still in Indiana?
No, still in Indiana. And I remember getting an advanced copy of that, maybe even a few weeks. The label sent out a promo. So I had already.
So you're still working at the record store at this time.
Yeah. Yep, still working there. Probably my favorite job ever. I just loved working at the record store. It was so cool, man. But I was so excited when you put it in here, Mouth for War. I was like, holy shit! And the New Level, it blew me away. I was into it. They came to town opening for Skid Row.
Oh yeah. Later
that summer on the tour, and I was still at the record store, and Phil and Dime came in. And I built this huge display for their album, for the Vulgar album, with posters, promotional flats, and the
right
CDs and cassettes and all that stuff. And they came in and they were like, "Right on, man, that was cool." And Phil he came up to the counter with a Sinead O'Connor cassette.
Okay.
And he's like, "Can I get the super rock star discount?" He was just kidding, right? And I'm like, "Well, I think so. Let me ask my manager." I had to ask because I couldn't, I couldn't punch in the right codes. You had to be the manager. So, hey, Joe, man, can he get the discount? And of course, he gave him the discount.
Right.
But he was cool. They were signing autographs for people that came in, and we were talking about the new Metallica, and because they just released the Black album.
Yeah.
Or it had been out for a while, but they were just talking about Metallica. So we were talking about Metallica and other metal and stuff, and then I went to see that show and them opening for Skid Row, and it was a heavy tour. Even Skid Row was really it bumped up their game a lot. Like they came out and fucking threw down too. Yeah.
Yeah, that Slave to the Grind era Skid Row, man. You can't get the first 2 Skid Rows to me are just masterpieces anyway. But that's I don't know about Subhuman Race, but yeah, Slave to the Grind era, Slave to the Grind era Skid Row would have been great to see live.
Yeah, I loved it. I saw them also in St. Louis at the Fox Theater, and Soundgarden opened up for him on that leg. So it was like, holy shit, these are all my favorite bands, you know.
Yeah, Skid Row definitely had their finger on the pulse at that time. I think they even wanted Nirvana at one point to come out and open for them, and Nirvana said no. You know, like that's how, you know, they were really smart enough. They knew what was coming. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, they had their own thing going on, their own world. So to mix in with that to them probably didn't make any sense, you know. But they seemed to do okay.
So what was Vinny much of an inspiration on you? Did you just like breaking down his drums and what he went on to do?
Yeah, for sure. He taught me how to play grooves and to be solid.
Yeah.
Rather than to just it wasn't so much of a focus on shredding all the time and being as fast with the feet as you possibly can, even though that I love doing that stuff. But when he came out, you just learned how to really play with guitars and create a fucking nasty groove.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a huge influence, and his sound to me blew everyone's away. Like, I loved his drum sounds. It was the best to me.
You know, your story kind of goes, and I guess we talked about maybe not talking about all this stuff, but your story goes into, you know, when you get to LA and you start hanging out with the dudes in Bullet Boys and all that stuff. And you know, those guys in Pantera, they never shied away from their love of, you know, Enough's Enough and you know, Tora and all those bands. You know, they even throughout all the time that they're taking out Morbid Angel, they're still like going out and seeing, you know, all the hair metal bands too. They never really turned their back on that style of music.
Yeah, dude. To me, I came from the era, and they did too, where it was okay to like all kinds of different styles. I don't know what the snob shit is in the metal community now, but it's like, yeah, we liked Enough's Enough, and we also like fucking sadists,
right?
You know, I mean, I fucking dug Demolition Hammer, and I liked Bullet Boys. You know, I mean, it's okay to like all this shit. I like new wave, and I liked, you know, the most brutal death metal you could fucking find. So it was okay. Yeah, they loved that shit equally, you know. I mean, just like I said, Phil's buying Sinead O'Connor. It's Phil Anselmo. Right. That's awesome.
Buying Phil Anselmo, talking about the new Metallica. You know, music's music, man. We all love everything.
Yeah, and I kind of miss that. I wish that people were more open-minded, you know, again, like that, and accepted more things. It's like I don't know. Everyone's got their little pocket, I guess.
Right. I think a lot of people have their pocket that they're going to let you know that they like, but then behind closed doors, they're going to put on a My Chemical Romance CD or something, you know, and they're not going to tell you about the Five Finger Death Punch album they're listening to or something, you know.
Yeah, and that's cool. You know, it's, to me, enjoy everything, man. It's just music. It's a snapshot in time. It's cool. Shit moves on. It's just enjoy it. It's fucking music. It's art, and it's not like people are fucking paying for it anyway. Right. So fuck off, you know.
So now you've definitely moved to California by the time Far Beyond Driven comes out, right?
Oh yeah. Yep, definitely. And that when I saw the I'm Broken video, you're like, holy shit, they did it again. They've completely fucking, they're gonna slay again. And that's my favorite record.
Oh, mine too.
Hands down, by far my favorite.
Did you get to see him live on that run at all?
Yeah, I did. I came back and visited some friends from school, and we drove to Nashville and saw them with Sepultura opening up. And that's when they were throwing cups of beer.
Yeah.
Launching them as far as they could out into the crowd. Like, it was a great way to kill time. I'll give them that. But it was fucking amazing, you know, like, who thinks to do that shit? That was so cool.
If that was 94,
yeah.
Starwood Amphitheater, that was my first Pantera show, was that show.
Yep, that was the one.
Pantera Prong, Sepultura had canceled. Max had hurt his leg or something.
Right.
Prong opened up.
Prong. You're right. I forgot about Sepultura fucking canceling. But that show ruled. I thought it ruled.
Yeah, and they were kind of that's when it was like them and Metallica played like 2 days apart. And I guess Pantera and Metallica were following them each other around tour around the country. And you know, Phil was talking junk on Metallica on stage, and you know, it was a good time, man. It was.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that, but that's interesting.
And it's also been like 30 years ago at this point. So
God damn, it has, man. It's crazy.
but yeah, man, it was so cool to get to see them live at that point. And for you being a drummer, you know, throwing and becoming the first time, and you're like that kick drum pattern is just like, I'm sure you just threw your sticks up and you're like, all right, Vinny, you know,
I was just like, holy fuck, that rules. I loved it so much, man. Like he and Dime played so well together. It was just like Alex and Eddie, you know, they were the next version of that, and they fucking just slayed, man.
Yeah, so good, man. So good. So you're in California at the time, you know, you hit the pinnacle of your musical career in '90, opening for Pantera. You're like, you know, you're the kid that did good. You know, you guys got out of the small town, went up to Indianapolis, the big city of Indianapolis, opened for the big band, and you know, you think you're well on your way, man. But you know, that time in between, you know, Pantera, you know, opening for Pantera, and then, you know, Five Finger signing was what, 15, 17 years, man. That's crazy that you grinded that long to, you know, not give up. You know, a lot of us that didn't get success in a few years, you're just like, well, I guess I'm never going to get it, you know?
Yeah, there were some trying times, and I went through most of that period sober. So I took all the fucking struggles sober. I didn't bury it in booze. Like right before Death Punch is when I thought, you know what, I can have a glass of wine again. I've, you know, it's been years, I can handle it. And then I fucking went off the deep end and shit. And then once the band started, it got out of control. But yeah, I took most of that. I went through most of that sober. And there was a lot of disappointments, and I was getting beaten down pretty good being in Hollywood for that long. But, you know, if you stick it out, man, it can happen. And it happened.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, obviously, you know, you were talking about, you know, were you ready to throw in the towel before Death Punch happened, or were you going to just continue to slog it out?
I auditioned to be in Wasp.
Nice.
And I got hired to do a tour, a European tour. But right before we went out, they brought back the drummer that they'd had for the past 12 years. I guess making a change was too much. So I was out, and then I was bummed. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to do a day job again. I think, fuck this. I'm over it. I mean, I said that. I don't know if I really was going to be done, but I remember telling my dad, I'm like, I'm fucking over this. I think I've exhausted it. I'm over it. Do you think I should come back? And he's like, well, you can, but why don't you try starting a band and doing exactly what you want instead of trying to land something that fits in that you think will get a record deal.
Yeah.
And he was right. I'm like, fuck, I like double bass drumming. I like metal. I want to do that. So I punched up in musicconnection.com classifieds online. I put like shredding double bass drummer, and then an ad came up, and it was an ad from Zoltan looking for a drummer.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him, and I sent him some music that I had tracked with Jason Hook. And it had some fast, articulate right hand, 16th note shit and double bass. And Zoltan sent me back some stuff that he was working on. I'm like, shit, that sounds exactly like what I want to do. It's that fast double bass, fast shredding right hand, rhythmical, cool shit. So we got together in a room and started kind of like hashing out his ideas. And we fucking went into a studio and started recording the record before we even had a band.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So crazy. By the time you're about ready to throw in the towel, it's like, it just kind of seems to happen to me. You know, Chris, same thing. You know, Chris, he had the long dread beard, and then he cut it off because he was going to go get a job at the Cosmopolitan or something. And, you know, he's going to sell all of his bass gear. And then basically kind of gave it one more shot when he saw you guys needed a bass player, and look at him now. But yeah, he was ready to throw the towel and had all his gear on Craigslist ready to go, man. So it's
funny.
Man.
It's funny how that shit works, man. It's like you're pushing this fucking water uphill all this time, and then finally when you just take your hands off, it fucking starts working. You know, it's like it's one of those stories where you hear about somebody answering an ad in a paper, so it was just online, and it worked.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Metallica, that's the recycler or whatever, like it's
Motley Crue, same
all
shit.
that stuff. It's just like, how many of those ads have been answered over the years, and Metallica, Motley Crue, and Five Finger Death Punch did not come out of those ads. How many people have been like, here we go, we're about to do it.
Yeah.
And it's nuts, man. So around 96, Far Beyond Driven's out, everything else. What's going on in your life? What are you doing in Hollywood? What are you, are you consistently playing the entire time? You're doing this, you're doing that, trying to start this, trying to be in that. Is that what you're doing out there?
Yeah, I was working stupid day jobs just to pay rent, but I was always making original music with bands, trying to have our breakthrough like every other band out there. And I was playing in a band with the guitar player that was in Bullet Boys, Mick Sueda. He was the front man of our band, and Jason Hook was the additional guitar player. So that's how Jason and I met in that project.
Nice.
And then we decided, you know what, let's branch off and do our own music. So we left that band and started our own thing. And we had a manager, Bo Hill, who was an 80s producer.
Wow, yeah.
Produced a lot of famous bands, Rat, Twisted Sister, Warrant, Winger, all that stuff. We got close to landing something, and then it fell through at the last second at Atlantic. So then a few more years went by, and I was frustrated. So I started making my own recordings at home, and I wasn't doing a band thing. I was like, I got a keyboard, and I was fucking doing like Devo and Gary Newman and fun shit, because I always loved that music. I love new wave.
Yeah.
And then I started missing drums, and the band was like, our drummer, we had to fire him. Can you fill in for a while until we get a new drummer? And so I started playing with this band, and they were selling out fucking the House of Blues on a Tuesday. It was big. I'm like, shit, maybe I'll ride this out for a while. Maybe something will happen. Fucking 2 or 3 years go by, and I'm like, fuck, nothing's going to happen with this band. I don't even like this music. I'm fucking over it. So left that, and then ended up auditioning for Wasp. I heard that they had an opening. I'm like, I never really wanted to be the hired gun type guy, but I'm so tired of not being able to fucking play music for a living. Wasp is tolerable. Right. I can do that because at least they were heavy. It was a dark fucking rock. It was cool, So I went for that audition and landed the gig. I had to go into the studio and record playing to a click track, and they were in the control room listening. So it was kind of weird, but it was cool. Yeah. And since I'd been playing live with a click track for so many years, I think it worked to my benefit because it was just second nature to me. I think that helped me get the gig, and I really focused on learning the parts perfect, album perfect. Like every fucking bit of it, I nailed it, the best I could. But it wasn't meant to be, and at the time you're thinking, fuck, man, what am I going to do? I'm fucked. I've tried it. Now I have to go back to this job that I quit, and everyone's cool. You did it. Congratulations. And now you walk back going, hey, can I have my job back? I'm a fucking loser, and I felt like shit. My self-esteem was fucked. And then I had the conversation with my dad, and then I went online and fucking, as fate would have it, hooked up with old Zoltan there, and we started Death Punch.
So, I mean, when you guys started Death Punch, I mean, you were in your early 30s, right?
Yeah, we got signed. Well, let's see. I was 32 when we started the band, and we got signed when I was 34.
Wow. And growing up listening to the things like the Bullet Boys and all that stuff, you're in that mode of like, once you're 26, 27, you're done, and and to finally get the record deal at 32 is kind of against the odds.
Yeah. I mean, I still felt full of life and energy though. And, but I'll tell you what, as soon as we got touring and doing that type of music every night, it started beating the shit out of my body fast.
Yeah.
It led to major fucking back problems and stuff like that. Which I had to get addressed,
right.
Back surgeries, and that shit sucks. It was awful. But, so I always was like, fuck, why couldn't this have been when I had a 25-year-old body?
Right.
But also that comes with a 25-year-old mind that's not that hasn't experienced life as much. So I needed everything that I went through to give me the foundation to be able to handle what was coming in Death Punch. Otherwise, it would have never happened. I couldn't have survived it. There's just no way.
The as we're going through the record too a little bit too, with the Great Southern Trendkill, you know, where were you in life at that point? You know, that's I think one of my, that's all, you know, I always say it's my favorite record too. You know, it's like the Great Southern Trendkill just sounds so good. Drums are awesome. You know, 13 Steps to Nowhere, all that stuff. You know, what were you thinking of that one?
I was waiting. I went to the midnight release for that. They had it at the Virgin Megastore on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. So I was there at midnight ready to go. I was fucking so excited, man. And you get it and you put it in and it's like, rah! You're like, holy shit. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, midnight releases, man. How much fun were those back in the day?
So cool. I went for the midnight release for Sepultura Roots as well. Yeah. Like, and I think that was right around that time. It was similar.
Yeah, I remember a Monday night we went and saw Korn on the Life is Peachy tour, and then after the show we went to Tower Records and the new Weezer Pinkerton album came out. You know, and we were like, we were pumped, man. It was a good time to go and just go and be up at midnight getting records and running out to the car and throwing them in the tape deck. You know, it was awesome.
Jason and I went to see Weezer at Tower Records parking lot on Sunset.
Oh, wow.
For the Pinkerton release. They were doing an in-store signing and performance.
Yeah.
I was looking at those, like, they'd all shaved their fucking heads for that tour, and like the drummer colored his hair green. So Jason and I went back to my apartment. We fucking shaved our heads right after. And I colored my hair. I tried to make it like dark purple, but then it faded to pink. I looked like a fucking Fruit Loop. But, you know, I mean, I was influenced by, I love that band. I thought Weezer were fucking cool too, you know? Yeah, I love that Pinkerton record.
So the whole time, you know, you're struggling to get drum gigs here and there, and Jason's off doing the pop stuff, you know, are you like calling him up being like, hey man, you know, does anybody need a drummer? You know, are you trying to get in on that stuff too?
No, he even said I could probably get you in, or I could get you an audition, or there might be a chance. I'm like, I can't do it. It's not my thing. And yeah. I was happy for him because fuck, you're playing arenas, you're making money. I'm working stupid day jobs, barely making rent, but I just wanted to do original shit. I wanted to make my mark in some way. So it's not for everyone. Like, there are people that are happy doing the hired gun thing and they do well at it for years and that's their thing, but that just was not going to work for me. So when I did the Wasp thing, I'm like, I reluctantly kind of went in like, fuck. This is not what I wanted to do, but if I'm going to have to do it, I'd rather be in Wasp than a pop act, but just because the drumming's more fun.
Right.
You know, I mean, and fucking Frankie Benali's drum parts and shit were hard. They were tough to play, man, and they were fun.
Yeah. That would have been kind of cool, though, if you would have looked back and, you know, you would have had the dude from the Bullet Boys with you and Jason, and then like you and Jason and like, what was that, Hillary Duff? You know, you could have had those three together, and then you and Jason and Ivan. You know, it would have been pretty nuts. The revolving door of singers you would have had over the years.
For sure, yeah. I mean, it's just cool that we ended up getting back together after all this time of trying to make our own original band, and then he went off and did the hired gun thing, and then he was in Alice Cooper whenever. We decided to get rid of our first guitar player, and I'm like, hey dude, do you want to, I can get you in if you want to do Death Punch. He's like, fuck yes, I'm ready, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And all the guys in his band, like, let me get this straight, you're gonna leave this fucking high profile cush gig to go be and starve in this fucking unproven metal band. And he's like, yeah, I'm leaving. And he did it. And then he came on board and we made War's the Answer, and fucking that was a platinum record. So I think he made the right choice.
Yeah, he did. And just real quick on Reinventing the Steel, what did you think of that one? And have you heard the new remixes that Terry Date has done? They sound amazing. No,
I haven't. I'll look into that. No, I was anticipating that record highly as well. You know, I was always a fucking fan. I was like, shit, 4 years in between records. But I mean, obviously a lot of personal shit went down, and that live record was cool, but I just don't care about live records unless it's alive, you know, whatever. But I fuck, I loved it. I thought it ruled. Great drumming. Probably, I think it's maybe my favorite drumming of Vinny's is on Reinventing the Steel. There's a lot of crazy drum parts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Terry Date got in there, and I guess they did the 20th anniversary remix, but he got in there and took all the tracks and brought it all down and brought it back up, and man, he put his magic on it. And I think it now sonically fits into the 5 albums much better.
So maybe that's what I just ordered, because I just ordered 5 brand new vinyl Pantera records that were all reissues. Maybe that's it.
I think so. Yeah.
Fuck yeah! I can't wait now. That's gonna be awesome. I don't know when they come out. I like pre-ordered it, so I'm waiting for it to come.
Did you ever see Damage Plan? Were you ever around for any of that stuff?
Love the band, never saw it. It was obviously a short-lived project, unfortunately. But yeah, I was into the record. I thought it was really good. I like the singer. It's a shame that there was fan backlash. But that's just how it is. It's never going to be. Well, it's not Pantera, so we don't like it. You know, it's the same with you're not in Death Punch. We don't like it.
Right.
It's just how people are, and that's okay. But I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put Phil's vocals on that, it would have been a Pantera record to me.
Oh yeah, I've always said that they made a second Damage Plan record, but they never put it out. So we need to get those tracks, get them to Phil, and give them Phil Rex, and let's make a new Pantera record out of that.
Fuck, that would rule, man. You know how many people would love that? God damn.
Yeah. I guess a quick, where were you when you found out Diamond passed?
Jason sent me a text, and he was out on the road. I think he was playing with Vince Neil at the time.
Nice.
And he sent me a text saying Dimebag was dead. And I was like, fuck off. No way. And then I was trying to log on to Blabbermouth or whatever the fuck. And the servers were so busy. You couldn't even get on. So I'm like, Yahoo search fucking, and then I found it. And I'm like, holy shit, this is really happening. It was unbelievable, man. Yeah. And my girlfriend's like, well, how come you spent the last 9 hours on the internet? Are you ever going to come over here and like fucking come to bed? And I'm like, you don't understand. It's just fucking Dimebag, man. Because she wasn't a metal fan. She didn't really understand. But I was like, holy fuck. I didn't believe him at first.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough one. It took me, I had a couple people tell me that it happened, and I did the same thing. You're online, refresh, and then finally it pops up on like CNN or something. You're like, man, it fucking happened. But yeah, tough night, man.
Yeah. Fucking awful, man. And the same day, that's John Lennon's death day. December 8th.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
It was like, I mean, I guess that's those are two pretty legendary dudes on the same day, you know.
And both killed by fans, you know.
Yeah, that's how ironic and terrible. But yeah, what an awful day, and just gut-wrenching feeling for months after. You're just like, fuck, you can't get it off of it. You're like, fuck, this really happened.
Right.
And we're never gonna have music from that guy again, and we never get to see him be a jokester again. Like, it sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Another Pantera connection you have is the first Golden Gods that you won, Golden Gods drummer, presented by Vinnie Paul. Pretty awesome. Actually I watched that video today of your acceptance speech, and it holds up. It's pretty funny. It's good, man.
It's all we could do. Like, I was out on the road. We were out on tour, so I couldn't get back there. I'm like, I can't just do a normal, let's fucking do something stupid that the dudes like a guy that was in Pantera could appreciate, because he was part of those home videos. So I'm like, let's just fucking do something totally dumb and dress up like these rednecks. So we did it. It was fun, man.
Yeah, it was good times. Good times. Did Five Finger and Hell Yeah tour together? I feel like they did. I mean,
yeah, several times.
Yeah. So what was that like for you? Kind of getting to hang around Vinny.
It was cool. I mean, there's such an entourage. He's got his thing, and it's always a party atmosphere. So when we were drinking, like, we would go on his bus and be jamming Black Sabbath so fucking loud. But everyone's doing shots and having a fucking such a great time, man. It was amazing. But then once I quit drinking, and they're still on tour with us. I'm like, fuck, I gotta not be around in that corner of the venue, man, because it's just so crazy and out of control. It's a lot of fun. And like Vinny lived in Vegas where I live, and I would go over to his house. And there was one time I went over to his house, and then I woke back up on my couch and I had no idea how I got home. And I was like, what the fuck happened? I blacked out. Like, we drank so much fucking whiskey, and then he starts cooking. He's amazing, man. He would cook the best shit. And then I don't remember the rest of the night. I just remember waking up on my couch going, what the fuck happened, man? That's how it was with Vinny, man.
Did you ever tell him, like, dude, I opened for you in 90, did you give him that story, or did you just, leave it be?
No, I think I did. And, I'm sure he didn't care, but he was always very polite and fun, It's always, what are you drinking? What are you eating? No, I mean, the dude, it was always about drinking and food and swimming in his fucking pool.
Love those guys. Have you got a chance to maybe see into the Phil Anselmo and the Illegals doing the Pantera stuff? I got to see with the Slayer and all that stuff. Man, it was so good to see live, just to kind of hear those songs again.
Yeah, I've seen a clip or two of them covering a Pantera song, and it's like, fuck, man, it would be cool if they could do some kind of tribute thing. Just have a bunch of people do it, and I think it would be a lot of fun, and people would be into it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They love the songs.
Looks like you recently put out a audio version of your book. What made you decide to finally kick down and do one of those? Just quarantine, nothing else to do, or you've been wanting to do it?
People would ask me, like, do you have an audio version available? No. Do you have an audio version? No. And I'm like, fuck, I'm just gonna fucking do it. Because I heard Paul Stanley's book where he narrated it, and I thought it was great. It's like, fuck. And Sebastian Bach's, like, he narrated, and he would go off what was written and just start telling you extra stories and shit. And I'm like, that was cool. So, it took a week or so to record it. I just did it here at the house. And it was tough, though, because how often do you read for hours at a time out loud and have to nail it perfect? I'm like, fuck. I fucked up a lot, but you could fix it all with editing. And it's people, their attention spans are short. They don't want to sit and fucking read and have shit for storage. They'd rather throw it on the background or while they're driving or fucking working out and their AirPods, and they can listen to your story. And that's just kind of where books are these days. So it seemed to make sense, and it was already work done. I just had to fucking narrate it, and that was it.
Did you have an outtake reel? Is that out there anywhere?
Not yet. I mean, there's a lot of me. Fuck. God damn it. Good. Let me go again. Like, there's tons of that shit. I'm sure it's all saved, but I probably won't release it.
That's always the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely have to check that out, because obviously, I through podcast. I mean, I love podcasts, not only my own, but I love a lot, just listening to, different shows while I'm driving or while I'm at work or whatnot, just throwing them in the background and, just kind of lose it in there for a while. So definitely need to check that out. What's the kind of the next stuff for PsychoSexual? You got the Devil from Hell single coming out. You said you might do another live stream, stuff like that.
Yeah, we're going to do that, and we'll be filming more music videos. We'll release the album that Devil from Hell is coming. That will be, it's going to be on that record. We're actually on album 5. That's how much we've been working. So we're going to be cranking out material. As soon as we can tour, we're out there. It's just until it's available, we can't, but we're making music, and it's been a blessing because now we don't have to fucking stop to make a record. We can just keep going, or if we want to stop, we can stop and go on vacation and fucking relax rather than fuck, we gotta fucking write a record. It's done. Like, we're just fucking, we've been real fortunate to have this time.
Nice. And how involved is Jason in this stuff? Is he just popping in a little bit, or just on the covers album a little while back, or what?
Yeah, he just contributed a couple solos on that cover record. He's doing his own thing, and I don't think that he's the type of dude that wants to wear a mask and be in the background. I think he wants to do his own music, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing. He's super talented. Love him to death. We talk frequently. He's my neighbor. So
there you go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever he's got coming up.
All right, man. So anything else we got going on that we need to talk about? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Just look for the single "Devil from Hell" on, everywhere streaming on March 25th, and then the video will announce that. Just go to psychosexual.com or psychosexualmusic.com. My bad. Psychosexual.com was not available, and I've been trying to get it, but the dude was like, "Yeah, I'll sell it for $30,000." I'm like, "Fuck that! Psychosexual music will work fine."
Right? Yeah, that's insane, man. Just trying to. Yeah, it's funny. Your name. Psychosexual, you if you just Google psychosexual, then you get a bunch of medical stuff. But if you just Google Jeremy Spencer, you get like 1970s Jeremy Spencer.
I know.
You get a bunch of old stuff, man. It's pretty crazy.
I'm the Invisible Man, yeah.
And you got there was funny. There was a YouTube channel. It was like the Jeremy Spencer, but it was the other Jeremy Spencer. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think that might be the Jeremy Spencer, like the other one.
Hey, it's like there can be more than one dude with the name Jeremy Spencer. I go, the main difference between us, even our bodies are probably the same. Like I feel a little older than I am, but I guarantee it, his bank account's way better than mine.
Have you ever had any correspondence with the other Jeremy Spencer?
Never. No, I haven't.
You should do a song together or something.
Yeah, right.
Well, this Jeremy Spencer, man, thanks for dragging the waters with us today, and good luck with Psychosexual. New single, like we said, March 25th, Devil from Hell, Psychosexual. Jeremy Spencer, thanks, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, this is Terry Glaze, and you're listening to Drag the Waters
with Joshua.
All right, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? And you know what else is a lot of fun? The CMS Podcast Network. That's right. CMSPN.com is the address. Make sure you go over there. Make sure you watch the episodes there. You listen to the episodes there. And maybe you even just subscribe so it's delivered to your phone, to whatever podcasting software you use. But do it from CMSPN.com. Once again, CMSPN.com, CMSPN.com, CMSPN.com. We'll see you next time, fucks.